Hi, my name is Tim, and in this video, I want to show you how I would use PowerPoint to run slides for a worship service. So let's get started. Now, there's a couple questions right off the bat is why are we using PowerPoint? That's typically not what a lot of churches do. They'll use a video slide software. And the idea is this. PowerPoint is simple compared to those softwares, and it also is more common knowledge for the average user who may not be familiar with those kinds of video softwares that are out there. And so that's why I wanted to make this video. And now there's a couple caveats. PowerPoint is very powerful and a lot of people use it for a lot of different things. And so with that in mind, what I'm going to show you is the way I would develop a system to use PowerPoint. But there's a lot of other ways you can do this. What makes PowerPoint a little different, for one, is it does not have a built-in library or a database of songs. You're going to have to keep that for yourself. And so the way I would do that is I would create some kind of shared cloud folder. And so what I've done for my church is I've done that using Google Drive. And so to be able to access those files, what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to log on to Google Drive. You're going to open your browser, and then you're going to go to the website drive.google.com and press enter. And you can see right here that I have several folders already prepared. I want to show you how I have this set up. I have a worship folder here that is shared to the different worship emails and the people involved in creating these slides. And so we're going to open up that worship folder. I double clicked it. And you can see OpenLP, that's the other software that we have been using. We have pictures, several different kinds of pictures, sermon slides, backgrounds, you can put them in that folder. And then we have this folder for PowerPoint. And so I'm going to double click that folder. And this is the system that I've developed. I've used it at a few churches and it works pretty good. And so what you see here is you see a PowerPoint template. And templates are one of the very powerful tools in PowerPoint. What it does is it presets a lot of the different formatting. So you don't have to do that every time you create a new song or a new worship set. And so we're going to be using that template feature. You also see a few folders. You see backgrounds, services, and songs. And so the backgrounds, of course, those are just some nice background pictures. It's a curated collection of, right now, I think there's 35 really nice backgrounds that should work really well for song lyrics or for Bible verse slides. Then you have these two other folders, songs and services. And this speaks to that idea that, again, PowerPoint doesn't have a built-in library or database. And so what we're going to do is we're going to create a separate file for every single song. And then when it comes time to build a new service, it's really easy to just go grab a song from that folder and import it into a new slide file, a new PowerPoint file that you can then put all the songs together, any sermon slides, any Bible verse slides, anything like that, put it all together into one service and you save that service. And then that service is ready to go for Sunday morning. Let me pause. There is one necessity is wherever you're building these PowerPoints, you have to have Microsoft PowerPoint installed on that computer. Now, when it comes time to run it on our church computer, we're going to use a different program. And we'll cover that when we get there. But it's important that when you're building these slides, you're using Microsoft PowerPoint. Because if you're not, I can't guarantee you that other softwares are going to have the same kinds of features or be able to handle the PowerPoint files the way they need to be handled to build these services. Let's go ahead and download a few of these files so we can work with them. The first one I'm going to download is this template. And so there's a few different ways to do this. Let's try right-clicking, and you get this wonderful menu option dialog box, and I want to download. And you can see that it is already saved in my downloads. Let's go ahead and take a look at the songs folder. So you can see this is a new system that we're just starting to build out. And so I've only got the songs from last week going on here. Fresh Wind, Holy Spirit, King of My Heart, and a few others. But what we're going to do is as we create new songs, we're going to upload them to this file. And so this is going to have a lot more songs in the near future. And let's go back one folder. We can use the back arrow in our browser. Look at this services folder. And again, I just have the last Sunday's worship service slides there, just that one document. But you'll notice that it starts with that black background. It looks the same as that template file. And that's because we're going to build both the songs and the service from that same template, which is going to be good for consistency. So when people come in, it just kind of creates that that atmosphere of expectation and normalcy, and so there's no weird surprises just with the graphics or with the slides or with the fonts, things like that. And so again, there's lots of different ways you can do this. This is just the system that we have set up for right now. Okay, so I pressed the back arrow. I'm back looking at the PowerPoint folder, but let's go ahead and try creating a song. And so again, we already downloaded this template. What I need to do is go to my downloads folder and I need to open that template in order to create the song. And so this will vary, but the process is the same. Whether you're on a Mac or a Windows computer, you're going to go find where your downloads are. You're going to open that folder. Mine are right here on my taskbar here. Excuse me, my dock. Taskbar, that's your Windows option. And then you can see the file template right here. And I'm just going to go ahead and double click it. And if PowerPoint is installed on your system, it should automatically open in PowerPoint. But here's the other thing. It's a template file. So the template file itself isn't going to open. It's going to open a brand new file with all the formatting programmed into that template file. So let's go ahead and double click. So you can see right off the bat, I'm going to maximize this. We have this click to add title, click to add text. Those are two text areas that are already formatted and ready to go. So when we go find our song information, we can copy and paste it in. Now, there's also this other section at the bottom. It says words and music by. That's for whoever wrote the song. The copyright symbol. So that's going to be the year and the publisher information for how that's on file. And then it says used by permission, CCL license number, and that's our church license number. And this information is important because when we show these, we're technically sharing these for an audience, and so we want to have that copyright information just to cover our legal basis. And we're going to use the CCLI website to get that information, and I'll show you how we do that in just a few minutes. But for now, let's go ahead and start building a song. One of the songs we're going to do for this coming Sunday is This Is Amazing Grace by Phil Wickham. It's actually my daughter's favorite song, and so we're going to go ahead and build that slide. What we're going to do is we're going to do a web search for the song, and then we're going to copy and paste the lyrics into the different slides. So let's do that now. I'm going to go back to my web browser, and I'm going to open a new tab. And I'm just going to type in, This Is Amazing Grace. And then if you know the author, great. If you don't know the author, you can just type the word lyrics. Or if it's a popular song, you can just type the word lyrics and it'll come up with the right song. Now, if it comes up with the wrong song, you're going to need to go back and find your song authors. But here we go. We have a whole nice list of lyrics just provided by Google. And then not quite complete. I'm going to click this More button. Okay, and we can see the bridge down here. And so we've got the whole song lyrics pulled up there. A lot of songs, it's just really nice for the way it's set up in a lot of browsers, in a lot of search engines, is you just search and they pull up in a little section like that. Now, sometimes they don't. So you got to do a little more searching. But regardless, you want to find the lyrics kind of like this. Now, another thing about songs is they're divided into what's called stanzas or sections or verses, choruses, bridges, whatever you want to call it. The important thing to understand is there's different pieces to a song. And so you can see here, they're automatically broken down with these spaces between the sections. You'll also notice that some of the sections have really long lines. And what we're going to do is we're going to end up breaking some of these lines when we make our song slides, because we want to have the slides, the words on the slides nice and big, so even our congregation members who might be a little more visually challenged, or just for tired eyes, maybe they're coming off a graveyard shift, so that they can be able to see the words nice and bright and not have any trouble seeing the words. So I'm going to take this first 3 lines here, and then I'm going to go ahead and copy them. And there's a few ways to do that. I'm going to right click, copy, and now I'm going to go back to PowerPoint. Pull open my PowerPoint file here. Now, first thing, let's go ahead and add the title. This is Amazing Grace. Extra space there. There we go. Click to add text. Now, again, the text is already pre-formatted, which is wonderful. Now, let's see what happens if we just do a normal paste, if it will retain that formatting information. Let's try it. And you'll notice that it doesn't quite match the text that was already there. And so what happened is we need to do a different kind of paste. It's not a normal paste. Okay, there's a couple ways you can do this. You see this little clipboard here. You can choose the arrow and keep the text only. That's basically what we're going to do, but you can do that a little more efficiently. So let me get rid of these. I'm going to go ahead and undo that. Now, there's a few ways to do this as well. In my edit menu, I have paste and match formatting. Okay, and then I also see on my Mac, I have some keyboard shortcuts, which I like the keyboard shortcuts, but this is the option we need. We need to go up here to our edit menu at the top bar, paste and match formatting. Let's try that. And now you'll notice the words are nice and bold. So now they have the formatting of the template. And that's key. So again, to retain that consistency that's already built into the template. And again, that's the power of using templates to do this. But now we have a problem. We see that the lyrics are too long for the lines. And so we can fix that. Who breaks the power of sin and darkness? There's a natural kind of word break on the word of. And so I'm just going to go ahead and delete this space. And then I'm going to create a manual line break. It's the same line, but they need to be split just by hitting return or enter. You can see they kind of go together. Okay, so let's do that one more time. Whose love is mighty and so much stronger. Okay, there's kind of a natural word break before the word and. So let's do that again. I'm going to backspace on the space, return or enter. And now we're getting a little cramped with the amount of words here on the slide, and that's okay because again, we want to make sure the words are nice and big. So I don't want to shrink the words. I want to go ahead and create a new slide. And so if you're working with PowerPoint here on the ribbon, and there's several ways to do this, but I like to just use the ribbon and this new slide option. I'm going to click it. And there's a new slide right there. And so I'm going to go ahead and take the King of Glory, the King above all kings. I'm going to go ahead and cut that out. And then I'm going to go ahead on this side and paste that in on this side. Paste. And then there's a natural break where that comma is. So I'm going to delete the space in the comma. Enter. The King of Glory, the King above all kings. Now that seems like only a little bit of words on the slide. But you know, sometimes it's nice to just have a short slide where you don't have to read a lot of words. And so that's good for that slide. And as you can see, we're just going to keep copying and pasting all the lyrics until we have all the verses and the choruses and the bridges and all the different pieces of the song. So let me go ahead and get to that. I know I'm going to need several more slides, so I'm going to go ahead and create several more slides. I can always go back and delete them later, so we'll see if we use all these. So I'm going to go back now to my browser. I'm going to get the next it looked like 2 lines because I have to break them, right? And so now I'm going to use shortcut keys, but I'm still using the copy and paste functions. And so it's the normal copy. But then for the paste, remember it's this edit, paste, and match formatting is the option I'm using. Who shakes the whole earth with holy thunder? There's a natural break there. And leaves us breathless and awe and wonder. And you know what? The next slide, we can just copy this slide. So what I'm going to do is in this slide preview sidebar, I can actually click the slide. And when I right click, I can duplicate this slide just like so, and then just move it once more, slide it down. And you'll notice that there's kind of a little line there from where the slide is. And then as I hover, I don't know if you can see that, how it appeared between slides 4 and 5. And so they swap spaces. There we go. Let's go back and add in the chorus. Now these lines are shorter, so I'm guessing they're going to fit nicely. Very nice. And so at this point, I'm just going to go ahead and finish creating this slide, and then we'll talk about a couple things at the end. Now I notice here the lyrics aren't always 100% correct when you do like a Google search, and I'm pretty sure, and I know the way I sing it is on this line, who makes the orphan a son and daughter, not the orphans. And it is true that God makes all the orphans sons and daughters, but you'll notice that the next line is a son and daughter, and so it's just a little variation in the way different people might sing it. I'm gonna make it singular right there. And then you'll notice here, this King of Glory line is a little bit different this time. So we're going to copy and paste in the new King of Glory line. I already have the chorus, so I don't need to redo those. I can just come back and duplicate these two. And then we come to the bridge. Now, the bridge has the same line several times. And so there's a couple ways you can do this. You can create every single time you say it, or if you're just repeating the same word, the same phrase over and over for a series of repeats, what you can do is just create one slide and then let your slide person just stays on that slide until it's time to move on, which that's kind of the way I think of it. So that's what I'm going to do here. I'm just going to create this worthy is the lamb who was slain. Worthy is the king who conquered the grave. And what is a good place to... We can make that 4 lines here. And you'll notice we repeat it several times, but then we have this deviation the very last time. So I'm going to go ahead and make a slide for the deviation. There we go. And now we're right back to the chorus a couple more times. Let's talk about this footer information here. You'll notice that on every slide, it says start footer here. We don't need that on every slide. So let's go ahead and get rid of that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take on this second slide. All the way to the end. I'm going to hold shift and then I'm going to click this last slide and insert header footer. And I'm going to first delete the text and then turn off the footer and apply. And for everyone that was selected, it took that footer section off. But that footer information is key to where we're doing our copyright information right there. And so let's go to CCLI and go ahead and get that information. Now, if you're doing this, we will set you up with CCLI access to our church account as well. And what that is for is to make sure it covers our bases for the fact that we can share this copyrighted material, because these are artists and they are making a living off writing these songs and selling their music. And so we need some way to legally share this. And so by subscribing to CCLI is the way we cover our bases in that. So what I need to do, there's a couple ways you can do this, but I like to just search the song name and CCLI. This is Amazing Grace, CCLI. This usually works. The tricky part is some songs have the same name, and this is where suppose there were lots of This is Amazing Grace by Phil Wickham. And then you can search, and that'll almost always pretty much guaranteed get you the right song. Right here, you see the information, right? You see some of it. You see the authors, but you don't see the song number, and you don't see the publisher info, and that publisher info is what we're going to need. And so this is where we'll need to get you set up with a login. But I'm going to go ahead and sign in. So we don't need that song number, but I am going to highlight. Now watch. If I just click that name, it's a link. It'll take me to other songs written by that artist. I don't want to do that. So I'm going to start just before the name where my cursor is an arrow, and I'm going to hold down, click once, and hold down, and then highlight all the names. I'm going to copy them. And let me go back to my PowerPoint here, words and music by. And here I'm going to go ahead and paste that information in. And I want to use that same paste as before, the edit, paste and match formatting. The one caveat is it doesn't save the commas, so I'm going to go add commas. Now let's go get the publisher information. Notice how after I logged in, now the publishing info is right there. And so I'm just going to start it at the year and then highlight all of the lines. Now again, I'm going to have to go back and add commas. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different publishers. And I'm going to copy. And then right here, I'm going to click once. And then I'm going to use that same paste and match formatting. And now here it runs the publishers together. So I just need to go add comma space, comma space, comma space, comma space. There we go. Now, I believe the requirements, it's been a while since I checked them, but the requirements are we have to have this information on at least one slide. I like to put it on the starting slide, but then I also like to put it at the ending slide. So that does two things. One, it says, okay, at the start and end of the song, this is who wrote the song. The other thing is at the end, it's kind of a subtle cue to the congregation that we're toward the end of the song. And that's just kind of a mental thing. But you know, as you're in that that mindset of worshiping the Lord, it prepares your heart for a transition to the next song or to the next part of the service, whatever that might be. So we need to copy this footer to the last slide, and here's how I do that. Right now, you don't see any of those text boundaries. I'm going to click once inside the footer. That puts my cursor in there, but I'm going to click a second time. Now watch this. If I move the cursor onto the edge, okay, then it becomes like this 4 arrows. So I want to click once again, and now I have selected the box. And so now, again, we're going to copy and paste. Copy. On the left side, we're going to go to our last slide. Now we want to make sure we've activated the slide. So we're going to click somewhere kind of off to the edge to make sure we're inside the slide. And now I'm going to paste in that footer. And there we go. So we just created a song, start to finish. It took a few minutes. And now the thing is, once we save it, we never have to make this song again. The only thing is if we find an error in maybe the lyrics or some formatting, we might have to go back and edit it. And so let's go ahead and you know what? Now is a great time to look at how to apply backgrounds. So let's do that. To do that, I'm going to have to download some backgrounds. So back to our web browser, back to our PowerPoint folder in Google Drive, and let's look at the backgrounds folder. Double click. We have a lot of really nice looking backgrounds. Now, this is Amazing Grace. It's an upbeat song. It's kind of happy, kind of joyful. So I want a background that conveys that kind of emotion or atmosphere. And so I have two in particular I really like. There's this one, Divide. And then there's this one, Valley. But you know what? Let's mix it up. Let's try to find something else and you can always change this later too. But let's try to find something else that might be upbeat and joyful. Let's try this blurry circles. Okay, so some of these are nature, some of these are abstract, and either way, they should be nice for the lyrics to show up. So I'm going to download, right click, in my menu, click download, and it downloaded. There it is. If I go to open my downloads, you can see it right there. Now, I want you to pay attention to how we apply the backgrounds. I need to go back to PowerPoint. And now any of the slides I select are going to get the background we apply. So let's select all the slides. Starting with the first, single click to select. Scroll all the way down. Now hold down the shift key and then click the last slide and it highlights all of them. See that? Now to apply the background, we need to right click, format background. And then over here on my right, we're going to, in this fill option, we're going to select picture, but we want to insert our own picture source. So this is where I need to navigate to my downloads folder and find that blurry circles background, insert. And now you can see that all our slides have that blurry circles background. Nice, looks pretty good to me. One more thing. In a lot of different song presentations, it's just really nice to have a little kind of a fade transition between all the slides. So I'm going to build that into the song as well. So I'm going to do like before where I highlighted and selected all of the slides, starting with the top one, left click, scroll down, shift, left click again. And now I want at the top menu, transitions. And we're going to do a simple fade transition right here. There it goes. Now, on the left sidebar, it has this star, and that means you have a transition there. If you want to see that transition in action in PowerPoint, at the bottom right, there's a few options, and you see like this easel board here. If you hover over, it says slideshow. So just click it, and you see how it kind of fades in. You can go to the next slide with these arrows here, click it. You see how it fades in. So that's just a nice feature right there. We're going to end that show. Let's go ahead and save this file. File, save. Now it's currently not named, so when I press save, it's going to bring up the file name save dialog box. Now you want to make sure you navigate to wherever you know that you're saving it. I'm on my Mac. I'm going to click this down arrow, and I'm going to save it on my Mac to my downloads folder. And I'm going to call it This is Amazing Grace. Save. Beautiful. Now, typically, if I were creating 4 or 5 slides, I would go through this process with those 4 or 5 slides, maybe 15, 20 minutes, maybe a little longer if you run into some formatting issues or have trouble finding a song, no more than 30 minutes. And that's if you're creating 4 or 5 slides. Once you build your library of songs, then it'll be a lot quicker. For example, if I were doing songs that were already done, it would take me maybe 5 minutes to build the service. So for now, let's go ahead and close this out. I can't remember if we're going to repeat any songs from last week, but let's act like we're going to. So I'm going to go back to my browser. And what we're going to do is we're going to start building a service now. So I'm going to go back to my PowerPoint folder with my, I'm in Google Drive again. I'm going to use my back arrow. And I'm going to look at some other songs. Let's suppose we are going to go ahead and sing King of My Heart again this week. So I can just download that song. It's already prepared, ready to go. And you'll find it here in my downloads. Right there. Now, what I'm not going to do is open that file. I don't need to open that file. To create a new service, let me walk you through that. It's very similar, actually, to creating a song in that we're going to start with that same template. So I'm going to go ahead and pretend like PowerPoint's not open. So let me close it. And this will work whether it is or isn't, but let's just see like we're starting from scratch to create a service. Double click the template. There it is. And let's see here. We can just go ahead and we don't need the headers and footers right now. We'll apply to all. Now, we've got our service template. You'll notice that for a service, I don't need that footer option. So I turned it off using the Insert Header Footer Options pane. You can turn it on and off by coming into this pane right there. Okay, and then just apply to the ones that are selected or apply to all. What we need to do is import the slides from the other files. And so we're going to do this one file at a time. And this is how we do that. At the very top menu, Insert, Slides from, Other Presentation. Now, you find where your other presentation is. Mine are in my downloads. I want to insert This is Amazing Grace as the first song. Okay. And you'll notice that it retains the background and it retains its footer. It retains all the formatting that came with it. So let's go to the very end of the song. Now, for the sake of the person running the service, it helps when there's a blank slide between songs. So let's add a new slide. And you'll notice the footer's already turned off now. Let's go ahead and add our second song. I'm going to go back to that same dialog, Insert, Slides from, Other Presentation. King of My Heart. Now, King of My Heart has a different background. So let's see what happens when we do this. Press OK. King of My Heart. And you'll notice it retained the same background. It retained its own copyright information. And then, but you also notice that, again, for consistency, the title and the text are the same. And that just is easy on the eyes. You don't have to squint trying to see skinny letters or serif font features, anything like that. And then we get to the very end. There we are. We're going to press a new slide. And then we would keep going to add as many songs or slides as we want. You can do this with any PowerPoint slides you make. So let's say you're building the songs and the service, but then pastor wants to include pictures. Well, a great way for the pastor to do this would be to open up PowerPoint. He can use any template he wants, okay? And then he can come in and he can grab a picture. Let's just act like we were doing that. We're going to create a new presentation. Okay, and he sent me some pics or a picture that I need for service this Sunday. So I'm going to log into my church account here. Okay, so I now have the file saved onto my downloads, and there's some missionary friends that we support. And so let me pull up my new PowerPoint here. You'll notice I did not use that template. That's intentional because I want to show you how it retains the template information. But in order to add a picture, there's lots of ways to add pictures. I don't need all this title stuff. Let me create a new slide, a blank slide here. Don't need that first one. I got a blank slide. Let me just drag in the picture that I want here. I can format it. Apparently, I can automatically set some text. Nice. So over here, this is our missionary friends. I'll go back and put, their actual names and information in that later. I can make this, I can resize it here. I'm going to go ahead and make it take up the full top to bottom. And as I pull it toward the top, you'll notice it starts to snap. PowerPoint has these nice things where it'll like auto center. I don't know if you can see how the dotted line comes up in the center. It'll also do that vertically. So there you go. I've just got a picture on a slide. It does help to make kind of pictures like this pop if you put the background as black. So let's go ahead and right click, format background. We're just going to do a solid fill with black. There it goes. So now when it comes up on the black screen, the only part that will show will be the picture. That'll be nice, a nice full picture there. We're going to save that as, I don't know, sermon slides 5/30/21. Save it to my downloads. Done. I'm going to close it because I'm done editing it. And I'm going to come over here to my service slides, which I haven't stopped editing. It's still open. I'm going to insert slides from other presentation. Now I have sermon slides. I'm going to insert it. And look, it just is exactly the way I made it. So when you do that dialog, insert slides from other presentation, it retains the formatting of that other presentation, which is key. So any kind of sermon notes or any kind of guest speaker who brings in their own slides, you can have your song slides already made. You can come over to PowerPoint, you can insert slides from that other presentation. It will retain their formatting. Okay, now I'm just going to put one more blank slide at the end. We're going to save this as, let's go with, I do follow a naming convention, 21/05/30, 6-digit date, year, month, day. And then Sunday worship, save it to downloads. Now I'm going to go and upload these so that they can be pulled up from the church computer. So I'm going to close out of PowerPoint. So when we give you access to these files, then we'll also give you access to be able to upload to these folders. I definitely need to upload my songs. And the easy way to do that is just to, in the Google Drive, double click the songs folder, and then you will go find the songs using your file browser, whether that's the Finder or Windows Explorer, whatever it is, Mac or PC. Just click the files you want, click and drag, plus, and it uploads. So there it is. This is Amazing Grace. Give it a moment to refresh. Nice. And now we're going to go to PowerPoint services. That's last week's. Let's go ahead and upload this week's. So there's this week's. And there we go. That's our system. Create the song, create the service by importing the songs and the pictures and everything else. Now, there's one more thing I need to show you, and that's how to run it, because our church worship computer actually doesn't have PowerPoint at the time of this video. So it uses another program that can read the PowerPoint files. You can't do all the template stuff, so I wouldn't use it to create the songs, but you can use it to run the service slides on Sunday mornings, and it actually works really well. So let me show you that here. I don't need Chrome anymore. So Sunday morning, you go into the worship computer and you go to set it up to run the slides. And what you're going to do is on the left side here, you will see actually the folder, PowerPoint. And that Google Drive folder in PowerPoint is set up to sync with the church computer so that all those files will automatically be downloaded onto the church computer, which makes it super simple, super easy. So you would come over here to the PowerPoint folder. We'll pretend my downloads folder is the PowerPoint folder right here in this left sidebar. And then you would just double click the file you want to run. And so we're going to use an application called LibreOffice. It's like a free open source version of Microsoft Office. It works a little different, but it has full compatibility to read and run the slides nicely. So you would just have to double click. I'm going to right click open with. You see this option LibreOffice. It kind of looks like this. At the top, you have icons and you have a menu bar. So there's a couple ways to do this. You can slideshow on the menu bar and start first slide, or you can start from current slide. Both are great options. And then the other option is here, there's some buttons. Now on the church computer, I think it's a slightly different older version. It looks like a play button. And I don't know if you can see that little green right there, but that's a play button. And so that will start your first slide. You hover over the one next to it, start from current slide. So the key is to hover over it, and you want to get that text, start from first slide, right there. Now, there is a special feature when you're connected to another display, but it's really straightforward. It just shows you a grid of all the slides, and then you can just click the slide you need. It goes left to right through the songs, and then it just has a way to scroll down to get more slides. And that's it. And so this system, again, is based on PowerPoint. It's very simple. It's very straightforward for the most part, especially if you pay attention to your details. We're using a template, the same template to create your song slides and to create your service slides. And you know, just with a little bit of practice and then some time building out that library, you'll be able to do it very quickly. And so I hope that helps. I hope that gives you some direction and some clarity about how to use PowerPoint. You're not going to get motion graphics. Lower thirds would be you could do, but it'll take a bit of formatting. You're not going to get the fancy things, but you're going to get something simple and straightforward that a lot of people can just click through, some song slides, some sermon slides, and be able to run your service. And so, anyway, God bless, and have a great day.